Hello, everybody. I'm Robin Vogel, and welcome to the Goddess Rising to the Summit. I'm your host, as you know by now, and I'm really happy to have a friend, a colleague, and my Akashic record reader, Liz Varney, with us today. So
Hi,
excited to have you
Robin.
here. Yeah, thanks for being here.
So great to be here.
I'm so glad to have you part of this. And once again, the art behind you is like so beautiful, and it's like lighting up. It's very goddessy to me.
It is very inspiring and it covers the color spectrum in full. So that's why I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful. So Liz, I'm going to introduce you just by saying that Liz is an Akashic record reader, among other things, therapist and amazing person all around, goddess and intuitive and a medium and lots of other things that we will experience today. But I know, well, we're not going to really spend time on Akashic today necessarily, but because I'm using the word and it is part of who you are in the world and part of the way that you contribute to the world and how you have contributed to me, I feel like we should say like one thing about what that is, just for context.
Sure. And even your list of, titles that you've introduced me by are all the same thing. So really it is soul being inspired. And the Akashic specifically is the understanding that we are each a soul first and a human second, and that our soul journey is an infinite one, and we are here temporarily in these human bodies. So connecting into the Akashic records is quite simply connecting into the history of your soul's journey. And the reason why we like the Akashic is it helps bring us out of the stuckness that we can get with our human that is trained by other humans in society and culture. So coming into the Akashic records can help bring us away from those norms and back into our deepest authenticity.
Oh, I have the chills. That's beautiful.
Thank you. And so, and truly being a therapist and being an artist and a writer and all of the things you listed, right, all come back to being in soul, really.
And accessing your soul.
That's right.
And you said soul and human, which is language that you often use, human and soul as two separate, together, but also separate. And I think that, that's really at the heart of our conversation today. Channeling writing with the goddess is actually a tool that you taught to me that I use. And I'm really happy to have you here talking about it, because a lot of times, and in the context of this summit too, it's like, how do I access the goddess? What is the goddess? How do I access my divine feminine? How do I know when I'm in my aligned, most authentic place, like you just said?
Right.
And how do I know when I'm in what I'm going to call personality, human, how do we make that distinction?
Right. We have lots of words for it. Yes.
Yeah. But it's really hard to know. And like you said, we can get stuck in the human very easily because,
that's what's most practiced.
Right.
Exactly. That's how we've been trained. That's how we've lived. That's how we've gone through school, is really relying on that part of us. So starting to connect into goddess and soul and spirit. And we have lots of different language to describe this other part of us, right? This spiritual being part. It does take some practice. And I would say perseverance is one of my biggest encouragement, and the tool to use is just being persistent as you start to learn the difference between what is your human or ego or personality versus what is spirit or goddess or soul.
Great. So tell us how one would start to witness the difference, start to know.
So for me, it started with the language of just starting to talk about human versus soul, and those are my terms, but everybody has their own. And starting to feel the difference between when my human is in operation, it talks in sentences, right? And it often has a lot of questions. Is this right? Am I going in the right path, right? It has that that tone of worry or anxiety or concern. How does this match up? What is Robin doing? Mine doesn't look like Robin's. Is that okay? Right? It has that kind of dialogue.
Right.
Versus connecting in with a goddess or spirit, to me feels much more like information dropping in, information showing up. It feels much more succinct, like a little flash of information, versus the ongoing chatter that tends to come with our human and our brain and our ego.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting. I remember, years ago when I first started trying to decipher these two, it was hard. I remember somebody saying to me, like, the difference. And I was thinking, oh, I don't know yet if I know the difference.
That's it.
And I know that the people I work with too, like some people are really visual.
Yes.
People aren't visual at all.
Right.
And they can also tune in or hear their soul speak in different ways. Do you want to share anything about that piece too?
Yeah. And so what we're really talking about in terms of how I understand it is we're working with our intuition, and our intuition uses all of our senses. So our vision, our hearing, our knowing, our feeling. And each of us have one of those senses that kind of leads when we're working in an intuitive space. So for me, it's clairvoyance. So I'm very visual when I'm receiving information. But when we're talking about writing, we're actually kind of shifting into the gear of being more clairaudient, being able to receive words and sentences to help you feel guided by source or goddess or intuition, however, whatever name you'd like to use. This is all what we're talking about. So for me, I have a very simple process to get myself started. And it starts just with 4 breaths, because for me, in order to get into that spiritual or intuitive space, I need it to be easy and I need it to be simple. So oftentimes people take classes and you do a 30-minute meditation and there's incense and there's sage and there's all of these things, which is beautiful, but does it really work practically when you're at home and you have a few minutes before you have to go somewhere else, but you want to ground yourself? So for me, I've come down to just 4 breaths as a starting place. Nice. The first breath is just deciding I'm grounding into Mother Earth and feeling my roots start to extend and expand, feeling nice and grounded here and safe. And then the second breath, I'm breathing down from the divine, and I'm just imagining this beautiful white light showering in and around me, just clearing out any debris that might be getting in my way. And then my third breath would be my most important breath. That is the breath I'm moving all of my ego, my human, my personality over to the side. And for me, it goes over to the left side because that's where I perceive my logical linear brain to be. So you go hang out over there. Mm-hmm. And then my fourth breath is just bringing that beautiful soul energy forward. And for me, I do use a visual of kind of imagining myself becoming a clear quartz crystal, just a beautiful channel that can allow information to come right through me. And once I do those 4 breaths, I'm ready. I'm going to go. And so this is where that persistence and perseverance comes in for me, and a little bit of psychology, which is to say, the more I pair those 4 breaths with the writing or the channeled information, the more I start to condition myself to become ready. So that now when I just do the first breath, I already feel like I'm there, right? Because it has happened so many times together that my body, my mind, my spirit knows what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So let's just review that quickly. First breath, ground to the earth.
Yes.
Second breath,
shower of the divine.
Shower of the divine. Third breath, most important, all the way over. I have a little waiting room and I ask them.
We unfortunately can't get rid of them, right? Like, so they're hanging out with us. We can just move them aside.
Yes. I ask them to wait. I let them know I'll be back. It's okay. I'm not abandoning you. Just over there for a little while. Yeah.
Right. Which includes doubt, right? Which includes skepticism. And that's what I see for a lot of people. They want to do this process and then doubt comes and takes over. So we're moving doubt. We're going to suspend skepticism. Is this me talking or is this goddess talking? We're just going to step it aside. Doesn't matter, right? Yeah. And then fourth breath, beautiful soul energy, clear channel.
And I love that the visual you gave was a crystal, a quartz crystal. I really like that image. That just clears.
So for me, it like takes over my body and it extends beyond my physical being, almost like a little point, like pointing up to Goddess, like, here I am, find me, I'm ready for you.
Nice. I love that. Nice. So we're talking about, we're gonna move into the next piece, but we're talking about channeled writing with the Goddess. So you define the Goddess, and it's just intuition, connection to soul, accessing our soul, separate from our human and our personality. The 4 breaths sort of introduce the practice and get us connected. Yes. And now what?
And now we receive. One of the hardest energies, particularly with that human brain training, right? We're reaching, we're going, we're striving, and here we're in a place of receiving. So for me, I do my 4 breaths. I ask, Goddess, please guide me for the day. And then I wait. I wait for the first sentence. And it can be anything. And I know it is different than my brain thought because it doesn't always make sense to me.
Right.
It can be the start of a song. Mine right now feels very much, it's poetry, and it often comes through in rhymes, which, you know me, I don't speak in rhymes.
No.
So that's how I know I'm in a different space.
Yeah.
So sometimes I will hear words that I don't even know what they mean, but they come through and I have to look them up later. So these are some of my signals that I'm in there, but that's practice, right? That's years of practice. So you start wherever you start, and it could just be that you just start writing the first sentence. I always say it's kind of like when you're in school and you had to write an essay, writing that first sentence was always the hardest, right? And as soon as you get the first sentence out, then you kind of can get in the flow. Right. So some people will just write Goddess, 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 right? You can keep talking to Goddess, waiting to receive from Goddess, right? So whatever allows you to start to open up to receive words. So sometimes people just write and, or receiving, just to get in the flow. And then you just wait. Oftentimes mine start with a song title or a song lyric, because I'm doing this in the morning. For me, that's what works best. I think you can do it anytime, but I often have songs in my mind in the morning. So those will come in that channel time, and that's the start. And then it just starts to flow from there.
Got it. Okay. So you do this as a morning practice. You personally, you can do it anytime.
Absolutely.
I do often feel myself like morning, I'm still very connected to spirit because I haven't clicked, my brain hasn't clicked into the day. Some people do wake up thinking about their to-do lists. So morning might be a challenging time. Maybe evening might be another time of day, but really any time of day, right? Anytime.
I believe any time of day works. I do also personally do a little bit of a brain dump first, just for that reason. So if I wake up with what I have to do today, I'll take the time to do the brain dump, a little bit of journaling. And then when I feel like that's good and out, then it's time to connect into Goddess. So that way it does lend itself to any time of the day, is if you put that process ahead of it, which is just to release any of the brain clutter to get yourself prepared.
That's great. Great. Thanks for adding that piece.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you had a question you specifically asked, but we can ask anything, right?
Absolutely. And sometimes it is a specific topic. Please tell me about this decision I have coming up. But I do find, so as I mentioned, mine is coming through in rhyming poetry, which does challenge my ego brain quite a bit. Yes. It feels that sometimes my brain wants to make sure the cadence and the rhyming works, and Goddess doesn't seem to care about that at all. And some sentences don't sound right and don't make any sense at all. And the perseverance and the persistence is to keep going. It feels that there's a natural conclusion for me, even if I'm asking about a topic or particular guidance. And ultimately, what I've experienced is no matter what I ask about, love comes through every single time. Every single time it is about love and joy and pleasure and being in highest energy, which serves me and serves Goddess. And so no matter what I ask about, it does tend to always turn there. So I do feel like the information available through that channeled writing is so diverse, and yet ultimately it always comes down to the same energy of love.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Gosh, you're really inspiring me. I haven't done the practice in a while, and I am writing now, so it's the perfect time to start again.
It absolutely is. And I think that right there, Robin, is really so important, is that it ebbs and flows, right? We can get into a process and then we step away. And that perseverance and persistence, right? Is that what calls us back to it? And even if we feel frustrated, or we feel like, oh, this is me just talking to myself, which I hear a lot. And I would say, so what?
Okay, right.
So what? That's a beautiful tool. Yes. Talk to yourself. Is it helpful? Is it comforting? Is it supportive? Yes, it is. Well, that's great. But coming back to it is always available. Goddess doesn't leave you. You might step away. You might have other things that take over, but Goddess is always there and always welcoming us back.
That's so beautiful. Thank you. That is the perfect segue to pulling a tarot card for our Goddess Rising to the Summit, because Goddess is always with us. And as I was thinking and dreaming of this time with you, I kept seeing you pulling a card. And so what I want to just invite us into, and for those listening, that the card is for all of us. It's for all participating. It's for you and me, and it's for the summit. And I just felt to have you do that. So. And
it's not unrelated. Like I said, it all comes back to the same thing, in that using tarot cards or oracle cards and asking Goddess to help pick the card is a way that we channel Goddess.
Yes.
So I'm breathing as we're talking, which is why I'm just taking an extra moment and I'm doing the breaths and setting the intention that Goddess helps pick a card to help guide all those. And I'm visual, so I'm picking the card visually as I spread them out. All right, so let me see if we can get here.
Oh, wow. The 8 of Pentacles.
So beautiful, beautiful card.
Wow.
Echoing what Goddess has invited me to share, which is about working hard. The pentacles are the energy of your home life, your earthly life, your work life. And the 8 of Pentacles is putting that hard work in to achieve, to receive, to set forward all that you want to create here on earth. So she's echoing what we're saying about the perseverance and the persistence here in the 8 of Pentacles. And I love the energy of this card, right? So it has that beautiful red, which I would call the grounding energy, is reversed. So grounding is up at spirit. And down below, we have this darker color, which looks blue and green to me, which is heart-centered, throat-centered, as the grounding, right? That communication through the heart. And this beautiful being is just sitting in her chair with all of her options available to her, waiting to see which tools call to her as she works hard here. But what a cool synchronicity there with that card for our message today.
Beautiful. No surprise.
Not a surprise.
And I'm so grateful. And I got, I got the goosebumps chills.
Me too.
Especially when you said the options in front of you and which one will we choose. And I think that's, really, that's such an important thing for us to remember, that we have choice and there's many options, and it can seem like not the case, but
right. And I will just add one final thing as they drop it into me, which is taking pride in all that you do, regardless of what the outcome is. It's having the pride that you've tried, and the pride that you've shown up, and the pride that you've put the effort in. So having that perspective, again, steers away from the human ego, that it's not about the outcome or the result. It's about having the pride that you've started at all, and that you've attempted, and you've started to put yourself in a place to connect in this way.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you
you for
for
that
reading.
suggestion.
Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. So I'd love to hear what you would like to share as a gift to this community.
So I'm super delighted. So we talked just a little bit at the beginning about the Akashic, and what I would love to share with participants is in the month of July, a free group Akashic reading.
Yay. Oh, that would be so awesome. I just want to say, a plug for the Akashic. Just the Akashic readings are just so poignant and so beautiful and so helpful, very practically helpful. They have been for me over the last almost 3 years.
Yes.
Very,
different
very
energy than goddess, and different information comes through. And that might be a topic for another day.
Right.
Really beautiful soul support is what I will say that comes through the Akashic.
Great. And you're also offering a bonus for those that are participating in the All Access Pass. So I just want to say that for those of you that will receive the recordings and have them for a lifetime, they're also going to get access to your book.
Yay! Of the Soul Reason, Volume 1, which is just a beautiful compilation of Akashic readings that I've done for folks. I bring in the human, I bring in the soul, I help us see it all. And it just, I'm really excited to share what I have learned, really. And that's what it is. Again, just using myself as a channel. I've received all this information, and I'm really excited to share that with everybody.
Yeah, and the book is fabulous. I have it next to my bed, and I read it, and I've been reading it. And sometimes I just open, and like read a page.
It's one of those books that you can do that, right?
Yeah,
that you
feel like
gonna jump in and just see what's there for you.
Yes, I feel like a continuous reading and a continuous gift. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely, thank you.
Yeah. Well, Liz, thank you so much. This has been amazing. This is
been so great.
Really wonderful that now everybody listening has this really practical tool how to channel the goddess and channel their soul. And it's a daily practice, and it's beautiful.
And fun.
And fun, yes.
And fun.
It's got to be fun.
It has to be.
Absolutely. So thank you so much. Thank you to everybody listening.
Thank you so much for inviting me. This has been a great conversation, and I feel lighter and even more inspired just by talking about it. So thank you.
That's so great. Me too. So lots of love to everybody. Have a great day, and see you next time.